Here's the story I told my wife. So I was talking to my wife and I showed her this card and she goes, this is for Grace, my daughter, a little exquisite, right? And it's not to be sold. And she goes, well, what is that card worth? I go, well, that card's probably worth excess of six figures now. I assume over $100,000 roughly. It's a nine, one color nine. And my wife's like, well, what did you pay for it? I go, well, I paid a little bit short of 30K. And she goes, excuse me, you paid a little short of 30K for this card? I go, yeah, but it's worth like six figures. And she's like, no, you took out $30,000 to buy this card, and that's what she was all 30K. Like, get back to that. I was like, yeah, but it's worth like 4x or doesn't matter. I can't believe you spent that much money on one card. So it just tells you the scope of my wife, what she thinks about trading cards. Like, there's no way you should be spending that kind of money on cards. So it was a chuckle. I go, I guess I will never tell you what I spent on a card ever again. That's telling you how much it's worth.
See, that's the every time I have a conversation with somebody, whether it's a private chat or a group chat or a phone or even on a show, and they talk about how, my wife saw this, I can't do this, I'll get in trouble. My advice is, and I know it might not be realistic in many situations, but what do you guys doing telling your wives about this anyway? I mean, if they're not going to support it, do it behind their back. It's a recipe for a great marriage right there. Do it behind their back. I kid, I jest, of course, but right. Yeah, it's and that adds a whole other element of the hobby for people when you do have those inside the house sort of battles, because that it's number one, it's a card you love, you're passionate about it, it's very, very special and important to you specifically, right. But you also know it's a pretty good investment. But just like with your family, some people just don't understand how these things are so valuable. I found myself explaining it to, one of the executives at the company I work for a few weeks ago, and explaining why these things are so valuable, showing them the evidence of what these things sell for, and they're mystified by it all. Yet for us, it just seems so normal and appropriate.
Well, what's funny was that I just told her this a couple months ago. So 6 months ago, because I got this in January. And I told my mom the same story. And same question. I was like, but it's worth more. No, it doesn't matter. You spent how much for that card? It's the same question. So maybe the Asian women have the same thought process. So that's what happens.
Troy makes a very valid point in the form of a question. Where can I get a wife that doesn't know I paid 30K for a card? Yeah, that's definitely a challenge for most people, for sure.